continues to inspire so many of us. Please welcome together the Chief Network Development Officer of QNet, Mr. Trevor Kuna.
So let's get down to it, all right? Let's be honest with each other for a second here, okay? You didn't come here for, looking for a side hustle, okay? You're not browsing, you're not looking out of curiosity. All right? You came here because somewhere inside of you, there's this voice that just keeps saying, there has to be more than this. More than trading your best hours for someone else's dream. More than waiting decades for a freedom that never actually shows up. And you really want to build something on your own, something with meaning, something on your terms. And look, I've been in this business for almost 20 years now. I've seen a lot. And the thing that it keeps coming back to me is that the people who do the best here in this business are not only chasing the income, but they're also building something that lasts. Now, think about what is happening in the world right now. The traditional path: trade your time for money, build someone else's vision, wait decades for freedom. That model is breaking down. People know it, you know. Thing that most people in business thought was naive, that a company should serve people, not the other way around. And that belief is what started everything. And that connects back to one idea: raise yourself to help mankind. And I want to be clear, that's not a tagline on a wall somewhere. This is the operating system behind every decision, every product, and every opportunity in this beautiful business. And you're going to see it show up again and again as I walk you through this presentation. So when the founders said profit and purpose belong together, they didn't stop at QNet. They built an entire ecosystem to prove it. Quest International University is educating tomorrow's change makers. The Rhythm Foundation is building schools and empowering women. QVI hotels and resorts are creating unforgettable experiences. The V is your networking accelerator. And your entry point into this ecosystem is QNet. Now, why does this matter to you? Because when you share QNet with someone else, you're not just talking about products, you're inviting people into something bigger, a movement where their success directly fuels real impact in the world. And that's very different. That's a very different conversation than, hey, you want to buy this? So let's clear something up, because I know some of you heard about direct selling or network marketing and had maybe an allergic reaction to it. That's fine. Totally normal. I get it. All right. But forget what you think you know, because this isn't 1995. This is entrepreneurship built for how we actually live today. Your storefront, it's your phone. Your market, it's customers across more than 100 countries. Your edge is that real human connection in a world that is drowning in algorithms. And direct selling is a $160 billion global industry, with wellness leading the way. But here is what makes QNet different from the rest of that industry. We fused that trust that comes with personal recommendations with the reach of e-commerce. You build globally without borders. And that's what they call real entrepreneurial leverage. So let's get practical for a second, okay? These aren't hypotheticals. These are problems that millions of people are dealing with right now. High unemployment. With QNet, like I said, you can start a real business from your phone today, not next month. How about rising costs of living? You're selling to a global market, not just your neighborhood. No startup capital. This is a low risk with no inventory and definitely no warehouse in your garage or your basement or your attic. And what about barriers to entry? You've got a fast learning curve because this business is built for students, professionals, parents, people with real lives. This isn't theory because hundreds of thousands of QNet entrepreneurs are already building their freedom this way. So when it comes to QNet, what are you actually plugging into? All right, you've got 27 plus years of stability, presence in over 100 countries. We're talking about more than 30 innovation-driven brands. We're talking about award-winning digital tools built for the way that you work today. And of course, an incredibly supportive community where your growth creates collective impact. This is truly an entrepreneurial launchpad with guardrails, momentum, and meaning built in. Okay, so let me show you what's actually inside this platform. And I'm going to be straight with you. I'm not going to oversell these products, all right? I want you to see for yourself why they work as conversation starters and as genuine solutions to real problems that people have. Now, every product you're about to see solves something real. Communities that need it the most. So you're not just selling a product, you're starting a conversation about health and wellness and backing it up with tangible impact. Now, Amezcua is our wellness technology range. And I'll be honest, it's one of those products that's better experienced than explained. The BioDisc uses quantum energy alongside nature's geometry and wave patterns. And rather than just me making these big claims, we just let people try it. Put it in your water. You try it with your plants. Okay, you see what you notice. All right, because the reason it works as a business tool, it creates curiosity. People try it, they notice something, and they want to know more. And that's a much better starting point than any sales. And that's a much better starting point than any sales. And that's a much better starting point than any sales. Much better starting point than any sales. And that's a much better starting point than any sales. And that's a much better starting point than any sales. Starting point than any sales. They want to talk about it. And this is where wellness is heading. And guess what? QNet has it. It's already here in QNet. All right. Now, how about Bernard H. Meyer? This is legacy and Swiss craftsmanship designed to be passed down through generations, kind of like the business that you're building. So when you wear a Bernard H. Meyer Swiss watch, it's a reminder of what you're working toward. And when people ask you about it, and they will, that's your opening. And of course, one of my favorites, with QVI, you're getting access to travel experiences that don't break the bank. So let me remind you, these are things that people already want. And your job is to introduce them to something that they didn't know existed. And products this good create natural demand. But how about that credibility factor? How about that credibility factor about the industry and about the business? Well, that comes from something bigger. So let's talk about what matters enormously in the direct selling industry. Take a second. What do you think it is? It's trust. And QNet has earned more than 200 global awards based on that trust. We hold memberships with direct selling associations around the world. And our compliance framework is built for the long game, not the quick dollar. Because when you represent QNet, you speak with authority, not because you're loud, because the brand behind you has earned that respect. And that kind of credibility, you can't buy that, okay? But I know what you're thinking. How do I actually make money from this? All right. And that's exactly the right question, because this business model has real leverage built into it. So it's about what you do and how the system multiplies your effort over time. Now, let's clear some myths up, all right, for a few things before we go a bit further, because there are some common myths about building this kind of business. And I'd rather successful partners built their foundation while keeping their day job. This is what they call a marathon, all right, not a sprint. Okay, here's another myth. Myth number 2. This requires 80-hour work weeks like a startup. Okay, you're not Elon Musk. Don't worry, all right? The reality is that consistency beats intensity. A few focused hours each week with the right system and the fantastic support of your upline and your partners will build real momentum over time, and you will be taught to work smarter. Myth number 3, you need to be a born salesperson with a huge network. Reality is you learn to share what you believe in. When you're excited about products you actually use and a purpose you believe in, that authenticity does most of the heavy lifting. Now, here's the honest truth. This isn't about becoming someone you're not. It's about becoming a better version of yourself with a system, with a supportive community, and a purpose that amplifies what you will bring to the table. Achievers Club. This isn't about trophies. This is about recognizing the builders, the ones who hear no and turn it into a not yet. And look, when you earn your place at the Achievers Club, all right, it's something else. All right, we're talking about retreats in places that most people only see on their screensavers. Okay, we're talking about real time with our founders, not a quick photo, but actual conversations. And you can't buy that. You can't buy your way into that, all right? You earn it. But what really keeps people coming back is knowing that what you're building is changing lives way beyond your own bank account. Now, talking about credibility, we don't sponsor athletes just to put a logo somewhere, all right? We back stories that mirror what the community is all about. Now, if you look at Chetan Karada, he lost both his legs when he was a toddler. He became a championship-winning professional race car driver without any challenges, because what his resilience is all about. His resilience is fantastic. You talk about the Confederation of African Football, uniting a continent through shared ambition. That's about community. Now you look at Manchester City, more than a decade as partners with QNet. So when a club like that chooses you for that long, the world notices. And what is all this meaning for you in your business is that when people see these partnerships, they stop asking, is this real? And they start asking, how does this work? And that's a completely different conversation. So you're not just backed by a logo, you're backed by stories that people believe in. And your job is to take it from there. Now, let's talk about the heartbeat of this whole thing, because this is what really sets QNet apart other business opportunity out there in the direct selling space. And it starts with FinGreen. FinGreen is something nobody in this industry likes to talk about. What's the point of earning more if you don't know how to manage it? And entrepreneurship without financial literacy is just gambling. And FinGreen is our answer to that. We are teaching young people, small business professionals, small business owners in communities around the world how to spend wisely, how to save consistently, and of course, build real financial stability. Because the next generation shouldn't just earn money, they should understand it. Because this is not charity. This is building the foundation for lasting freedom. So, as your business grows, so does the planet. So green legacy is one of those things that makes people stop and say, wait, really? Over 15,000 trees and counting across Asia and Africa. Now think about that for a second. Legacy isn't just what you leave to people. It's what you leave for the planet they inherit. Now, here is the true heartbeat of our company. Rhythm Foundation. I talked about raise yourself to help mankind. This is where it all comes together. Schools built for children with special needs. Women in rural villages launching micro businesses. Clean water. The impact that this business creates every single day. Now it comes down to you. And this isn't about being perfect, okay? Nobody who built something meaningful started when they felt ready. They just started. So the question isn't, can I do this? It's, what could I build if I started today? Can you imagine that? So here's the next step. Talk to the person who brought you here. They're not a salesperson. They're your potential business partner. Choose one product that excites you and take the step. Because the best entrepreneurs don't wait for permission. They start before they feel ready and they grow into their potential. And along the way, something magical happens. So your launch pad is right here. What will you build on it? And whatever you decide, we're building it with you.